Every champion who has faced Alex Pereira had one thing in common. They all broke. There's a moment. It happens in every Alex Pereira fight. His opponent steps into the cage confident. They've trained for months. They have a game plan. They believe they can win. Then they feel it. The weight of his stare, the heaviness in the air, the knowledge that one mistake, just one, ends everything. By the time the bell rings, they're already beaten. This is the story of the fighter who doesn't just win championships. He breaks the champions who try to take them. Alex Pereira's story doesn't start in a gym. It starts in the favelas of São Paulo, where survival isn't guaranteed and violence is a daily reality. At 21, most future champions are already deep into their martial arts journey. Pereira? He was drinking himself to death. Construction work by day, alcohol by night. No future, no hope. Just another young man swallowed by the streets of Brazil. His friends were dying, some to violence, some to drugs, some to despair. Pereira was heading down the same path until one decision changed everything. He walked into a martial arts gym, not because he dreamed of being a champion, because he was trying to save his own life. But here's what nobody expected. This broken man from the favelas had the rarest gift in combat sports. He could end anyone, anytime, with a single punch. Most fighters spend their childhood learning technique. Pereira learned violence. When he finally started training at 21, coaches saw something terrifying. Natural power that couldn't be taught, timing that seemed supernatural, and a calmness that belonged in a horror movie. Within years, not decades, years, he was competing in glory kickboxing against the world's best strikers. His style looked simple: walk forward, cut off angles, wait for the perfect moment, then unleash hell. But simple doesn't mean easy. What Pereira did required ice in his veins and dynamite in his fists. Most fighters have one or the other. He had both. Fight after fight, the same story. Opponents would start confident, then realize they were trapped in the cage with something they couldn't understand. Then came the man who would define his legacy forever. Israel Adesanya was everything Pereira wasn't. Flashy where Pereira was silent. Stylish where Pereira was brutal. The golden boy of striking with movie star charisma and highlight reel knockouts. In kickboxing, they met twice. Both times Adesanya learned the same lesson. There are levels to this game. The first fight, Pereira outworked him. The second, he knocked him unconscious with his left hook. A moment so violent it haunted Adesanya for years. When Adesanya became UFC champion, he thought he'd escaped his demon. Different sport, different rules. He was untouchable at 185 pounds. But demons have a way of finding you. When Pereira entered the UFC in 2021, every fighter knew what was coming. The nightmare was walking through the door, and it had unfinished business. UFC 281, Madison Square Garden, the middleweight title on the line. For 4 rounds, Adesanya looked like he'd finally solved the puzzle. He used his range, stayed safe, fought smart. The old Adesanya, the one who got knocked out in kickboxing, was gone. But Pereira is patient. He doesn't panic. He doesn't rush. He waits. 5th round, 2 minutes left. Adesanya was winning the fight but losing the war. Pereira walked him down like a predator sensing weakness, cut off his exits, backed him against the fence, and unleashed the combination that ended everything. The crowd erupted. Adesanya crumbled. And in that moment, Pereira didn't just win a title. He proved that some nightmares never really end. But champions don't stay broken. 5 months later, Adesanya got his rematch. This time he was ready. No more running, no more fear. If Pereira wanted a war, he'd get one. UFC 287, Miami, redemption on the line. This time Adesanya struck first. A perfect right hand that dropped Pereira and reclaimed the throne. For the first time in his UFC career, we saw raw emotion from the last style bender. Not showmanship, but relief. The rivalry was even, but the damage was done. Pereira had shown the world that even Adesanya could be broken. Most fighters would be satisfied with one belt and the greatest rivalry in MMA history. Pereira was just getting started. Light heavyweight, a division of giants where middleweights go to die. But Pereira didn't move up for an easy fight. He moved up because he collects championships like other people collect trophies. Jan Blachowicz was first, the former champion with the size advantage and a wrestling game plan designed to drown Pereira on the ground. Round 1, it worked. Jan took him down, controlled him, made him look ordinary. But here's the thing about Pereira. He doesn't break under pressure. He calculates. As the fight went on, Jan's gas tank emptied. Pereira's pressure mounted. By the end, the former champion was hanging on for survival. Decision victory. New weight class conquered. Next, Jiří Procházka. If Jan was the technician, Jiří was the madman. A wild fighter who threw chaos at his opponents until they cracked. But Pereira doesn't fight in chaos. He creates calm in the storm. While Jiří lunged forward with reckless abandon, Pereira planted his feet, measured the distance, and threw one perfect punch. Fight over, title won. Another victim added to the collection. Jamahal Hill thought youth and speed could solve the Pereira puzzle. He was wrong. 3 minutes, one perfectly timed shot, another defense. Another reminder that against Pereira, confidence isn't armor, it's a target. Everyone talks about Pereira's left hook, but they're missing the point. The left hook isn't just a punch, it's a psychological weapon. Fighters spend entire camps preparing for it. They drill defenses, they practice footwork, they watch tape until their eyes bleed. None of it matters, because when that left hook lands, it doesn't matter how prepared you were. The fight is over, but the real weapon isn't his fist, it's his mind. Watch Pereira's face during fights. Stone cold. No emotion, no desperation. Even when he's hurt, he looks like a statue waiting for the perfect moment to come alive. That calmness is contagious. But in reverse, fighters who usually attack with freedom suddenly hesitate. Fighters who throw combinations hold back. Against Pereira, hesitation is death. 2 divisions conquered, multiple legends defeated, a legacy that most fighters can't build in 15 years, accomplished in 4. But now comes the biggest question in MMA. What's next? Heavyweight calls to him. The chance to become the first 3-division champion in UFC history. A feat so impossible that even attempting it would cement his legend forever. Imagine the possibilities. Pereira versus Jon Jones. The most decorated champion ever against the scariest striker of this generation. Pereira versus Tom Aspinall. Youth and technique against experience and power. Pereira versus whoever emerges from the heavyweight chaos. But here's the thing that makes this all more urgent. Pereira is 37 years old. He started late, which means his window is smaller. Every fight matters. Every opportunity is precious. Other legends had time to build their legacies slowly. Anderson Silva dominated for years. GSP built his resume fight by fight. Khabib retired undefeated but methodical. Pereira is sprinting through history, accomplishing in half a decade what others couldn't in their entire careers. So where does Alex Pereira rank among the all-time greats? Is he already on MMA's Mount Rushmore? Or does he need that 3rd belt to join the immortals? Here's what we know. He's rewriting what's possible in combat sports. He's proof that it doesn't matter when you start. What matters is what you do when you arrive. He's a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous opponent isn't the one with the perfect technique or the longest resume. Sometimes it's the one who learned violence in the streets, found salvation in the gym, and turned both into something unstoppable. Alex Pereira isn't just a champion. He's what happens when raw power meets unbreakable will. He's the fighter who doesn't just beat opponents. He breaks their spirit before they even step into the cage. The question isn't whether Pereira will continue winning. The question is how much history he can rewrite before his time runs out. Will he become the first three-division champion? Will he cement his place among the absolute greatest? Or will someone finally solve the puzzle that has destroyed so many others? One thing is certain. Every time Alex Pereira steps into that cage, we're watching someone chase immortality in real time. And that's a fight worth watching. Don't just watch the fights, understand them. Subscribe to Fight Caviar today.